Welcome to the show. We've got a lot to get through, starting with the historic announcement President Trump just made. Yes, the President of the United States will be traveling to, flying into, and landing in sunny Venezuela. It's on the same level as his North Korea trip during his first term, when he flew into South Korea and walked across the border to meet Little Rocket Man. This time, he'll be heading to Venezuela to meet the new president, Delcy Rodriguez. We also have some jaw-dropping economic numbers out today, plus the latest on the Save America Act. Yes, we're now at 49 confirmed yes votes, folks. And all of this now depends on whether Leader Thune moves to a talking filibuster or a standing filibuster. Scott Bessant has some thoughts on why this is urgent. Let's begin there.
Make a visit to Venezuela. Wait. We haven't decided. Are you from Venezuela? From Colombia, sir. We share a border with Venezuela. We just had a...
The last time a U.S. president landed in Venezuela was back in the Clinton administration, 30 years ago. In October 1997, Bill Clinton traveled to Caracas to meet then-President Rafael Caldera. But that was before Hugo Chavez, before the Chavista movement, and before the full-scale socialist takeover of the country. So if this trip happens, it would be historic, comparable to the Little Rocket Man moment, especially as Venezuelan oil flows keep accelerating under tight U.S. oversight. Trump saying, "I'm going to make a visit to Venezuela." That would be bold. The man who just kidnapped their country's president, flying into their nation, walking into Miraf Flores, the military base where U.S. Special Forces raided a month ago, 2 months ago. That's a seriously risky trip. But from what we understand, this is all about Trump locking in the new Venezuela partnership. Energy Secretary Wright confirmed yesterday that revenue from selling their oil has surged, now topping $1 billion.
Oil sales since the initial sale.
Absolutely. Sales today are over $1 billion. And in fact, we have sort of short-term agreements over the next few months that'll bring in another $5 billion.
Okay, and that money will go directly to Venezuela?
That money will go into an account controlled by the U.S. government and released to authorities in Venezuela, subject to audit in Venezuela and subject to continued positive progress.
And breaking this morning, U.S. inflation is falling again. Prices are down, with core CPI coming in well below expectations at just 2.4%. Economists call this a downside surprise, the lowest year-over-year inflation we've seen since 2021. It's almost back to pre-COVID levels, nearly a year after Liberation Day, and headline inflation is basically back at 2%. The Great Tariff Shock, whatever happened to that? The thing so many experts warned was inevitable hasn't.
Here.
Good financial numbers, very low inflation. We brought costs way down, and the numbers were surprising, except me, they weren't surprising. So the inflation numbers just announced, as you know, are way down, and we have it back in track. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country, and now we have very modest inflation, which is what you want.
Now let's dig into the numbers. What's driving prices lower? Egg prices are down 34.2% since Trump was elected. Gas is down 8%. Energy overall is down 7.3%. Fuel is down 4.2%. Used cars are down 2%. Baby formula is down 1%. It's pretty clear. When energy prices fall, everything else tends to fall with them. The Trump economy keeps surprising the so-called experts. This comes as the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, released the U.S. jobs report Wednesday, giving us a snapshot of the labor market. 130,000 jobs added last month in January, beating expectations again. The unemployment rate ticked down to 4.3%. And the best part is where the job gains were concentrated. Private sector jobs surged while government jobs collapsed. The federal government lost another 34,000 jobs. That's exactly what we want to see. Under the Biden administration, it was the reverse. The federal government kept hiring people it didn't need just to juice the job numbers. More government jobs, fewer private sector jobs, ballooning the federal bureaucracy. Now we're seeing the opposite. The official White House X account posted this morning, "Don't be a panicking. Core inflation is at its lowest level since 2021. Private sector wages are outpacing inflation. Gas prices are down 7.5% year over year. Don't be a panicking." Remember April of last year, 2025, after Trump's Liberation Day announcement? All the experts and media prognosticators kept insisting Trump's tariffs, his tariff policy, would wreck the country and crush the U.S. economy. CNN was even urging viewers to dump their investments, scaring people into cashing out their 401ks and IRAs, saying the market was crashing. Well, look what happened. Since that day, since Liberation Day, the Dow Jones has gone from 38,000 to 50,000, up over 20%. The S&P 500 went from 5,000 to now closing in on 7,000. And President Trump posted last week on Truth Social record stock market, national security driven by our great tariffs. Trump says he's predicting 100,000 on the Dow by the end of his term. Remember, Trump was right about everything. Quite a prediction. And you've got to admit, the guy's been right about a lot, including the Save America Act, where we've got a major update. But first, I have to say, your reaction to Chapter has blown them away. That's why I'm glad they sponsor the show, because millions of Americans are on the wrong Medicare plan and don't even realize it. Medicare is complicated, with thousands of different plans, and most people never see all their options. They choose something one year and assume there isn't anything better. But quietly, plans change in the background. Doctors move, prescription costs rise, and people get stuck paying more than they should while receiving less than they deserve. That's where Chapter comes in. They compare every Medicare plan available nationwide and walk you through the pros, cons, and trade-offs in plain English. No pressure, no obligation, just help from people who know Medicare inside and out. On average, people they work with save $1,800 a year. So if you're turning 65 or already on Medicare, call 814-MED-PLAN and find out whether you're in the right coverage. If you are, they'll tell you. If you're not, they'll help you switch for free. That's 814-MED-PLAN. Call them right now and tell them I sent you. I truly believe these folks are excellent. They do great work, and I believe they can help. All right, back to the Save America Act. We've now hit the threshold, folks. 49 co-sponsors on this bill. Senate Leader John Thune has come out and said that moving to a talking filibuster or a standing filibuster is only on the table if we have more than 50 yes votes to guarantee swift passage. Otherwise, he says, there's no point in changing the rules. Elon Musk posted on X, spotlighting the 4 Republicans holding this up. Here they are. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, Susan Collins of Maine, and Tom Tillis of North Carolina. We played Susan Collins yesterday. Her reasoning for not co-sponsoring yet is that she's still reviewing it, especially the changes made in the House's newer versions. Collins, though, is probably our best shot. If you live in one of these 4 states, call your senator, folks. Be polite and tell them how you feel. This is our one shot at securing national voter ID. John Thune apparently was persuaded to support the standing filibuster. A lot of people from the Trump White House spoke with him over the past week about why he needs to do this and do it soon. Scott Besson explained the reasoning this morning on CNBC. Watch what he said.
Joe, the president couldn't have been more clear. I couldn't have been more clear a couple months ago. I had an editorial in the Wall Street Journal just saying we got to get rid of the filibuster. You know, in game theory, the best known game is the prisoner's dilemma, and it's like who moves first. And if you have bad actors in the prisoner's dilemma, which the Democrats are, then you should move first. Like, you know, it's kind of kill or be killed, and clearly that Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, the Democrats basically had nuked the filibuster, but they refused to go along with it. And guess where they are? They're both sitting at home now, hopefully watching your show. And you know, I think the Republicans need to be smart about this. And I think that maybe the filibuster doesn't get withdrawn for everything, but there are things that we've got to do, you know, like voter integrity, and we've got to keep the government open. I mean, look, we are on the verge of another government shutdown, and the Democrats think this is the way to hurt President Trump, but they're willing to hurt the American people. We had the biggest, or the longest shutdown in history. The economy still did great because all the initiatives we put forward, but I think that we have to get on with the people's business. And if the Democrats shut the economy down again, it is a sign that they are bad actors. They don't care about the American people, and we ought to move forward, not let the government shut down, have voter integrity, and many other of our signature issues.
Let me know if you agree with that. Do you really believe the Democrats won't completely nuke the filibuster the first chance they get? The two Democrats who are holding the line are gone, Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. Both of them are out to pasture. There's nobody left on the left. Maybe John Fetterman? That's about it. All right, that does it for this episode. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you again real soon.